Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. We're just waiting for any stragglers to come join the meeting and just admitting everyone in the waiting room. We should get started in another minute or two.
Wow, really good turnout. I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah, happy to see you all, here.
That's awesome.
Laura's here.
Carly, just let me know when you've accepted everyone from the waiting room.
Yeah, we're still, like, it keeps, every time I press admit all, it gets refreshed and more people are waiting.
Yeah, we'll give
so many people.
2 or 3 minutes.
So I'm assuming the majority of you guys are genuinely interested in social entrepreneurship and not just extra bonus marks, right?
That's our way of exposing them to it, Boyan. We want to get them excited.
Oh, yeah.
It is very exciting.
That's really, really good, though. That's great.
It's amazing. It's awesome to see you all here.
Somebody just pointed out that I was here. Yes, I am paying attention. Hi, everybody. Guys, I have to quickly jump out to do the second year orientation, but I'll pop back in.
No worries.
Sounds good.
We got Leanne here too. Hi, Leanne.
Your profs are here. Oh, you guys have to behave.
Yeah, behave yourselves. Okay, I think you probably can get going because it's stopped moving.
All right. Hey guys, once again, happy to see you all here. Today, before we go into the problem pitch, we're going to talk a little bit about Enactus Laurier and what we do. Oh, sorry. Okay, so just to introduce myself, I'm Chirag. I'm the co-president of Enactus Laurier. I'm a second-year business student, and with me, I have our VP of Innovation, our VP of Events, Carly, our VP of Innovation, Lauren, our VP of Comps, Boyan, and my co-president, Xander.
Hey everyone.
So just to give a little context, Enactus is essentially an incubator for startup companies focused on social issues. So we create social enterprises. So the main focus of our enterprises aren't really to maximize profits, but instead to maximize our social impact. We're a global network of change makers, and we compete against other university teams all around the world, with Enactus chapters all over Canada and in 36 countries around the world.
So as Chirag mentioned, Enactus is an international organization with schools across the world developing social enterprises and competing on those, which we will mention a little later on. But across the world, it's amazing to see students tackling all of the different SDGs and seeing all the amazing ideas that are able to come from these businesses. And the impact that is able to be made in the world across, as you can see, almost 2,000 universities truly is incredible to see everyone coming together and working towards the same mission. So zooming in a little bit on Canada, within Canada, it is a pretty competitive competition. As Boyan will also mention throughout our competitions, we have about 70 different universities across the country. And this past year in Enactus Laurier competing in Canada, we actually were the national champions within Canada, which we were really happy about, which led us on to the competing in the World Cup last year. Again, Boyan will touch a little bit more on that. But we want to keep that momentum going and want to get most of you and some of you interested in Enactus. So off to Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Super excited to have all of you guys here today. So I'm the VP of Incubation. So I work with all of our newer teams who are kind of just developing their ideas and helping them to work on their strategy, which is everything from, their main idea to creating their product, marketing it, creating all of their social medias, and things like that. And so the way that incubation works is you innovate your idea, you incubate it with us, and then we accelerate you on to the rest of our accelerated enterprises. So if you have any innovative ideas that you think would fit really well in an Actus Laurier, you can email myself, or we have a little sign up on our Enactus Laurier website under the incubator tab, and you can feel free to send me your idea and I'll send you back a little intro form just so that you can tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your idea, and we'll see if you are a good fit for an Enactus Laurier.
Hey everyone, my name is Boyan. I am the VP of Competitions for this year. I'm a fourth year BBA student, and this is almost the second half of what Enactus does. So on one hand, we have the incubator of developing the social businesses, and on the other hand, we have competitions where universities take their enterprises for the given year, use the impacts to compete with other schools for grant money and recognition among other Enactus teams. So the competitions in Enactus are broken down into 3 different categories. We have the regional competitions that take place in Western Canada, Central Canada, and Eastern Canada. As you guys know, we're in Central Canada, and the categories are broken down into financial education, climate change. It did include youth empowerment, but this year they decided to remove that as one of the categories. So now we only have the 3, including entrepreneurship. Those competitions are broken down into 5-minute videos or presentations originally. And from there, once we win, or once the competing school wins at the category, they move on to the national competition where teams from all the different regions compete in those same categories at the national stage. From there, it's a continuation of regionals. Basically, you're still competing with the same enterprises with the same categories. And then from nationals, once we win the national competition, you move on to Worlds. And Worlds is split up between finalizing the national competition and then additionally competing with all the enterprises that the school chooses to compete with. And those are done in 12-minute videos. In addition to the regionals, nationals, and world competitions, there are additional competitions such as the Race for Climate Change or One Race for Oceans, which students can still participate in, and those are additional competitions to just win awards and whatnot. So on the screen, you can see that these are some of the accolades that Enactus Laurier has gone. The most notable one, we did become second in the world this past year, which is really, really sick, because out of all 36 countries in the world, coming second is something incredible. And I hope you guys stay tuned with us because we're on track to get #1 this year. To answer the question in the chat, Egypt got first, and we did win the One Race for Oceans competition. So competitions really puts a perspective on what you can accomplish as a university student. People think that this is just another program or another club to get involved in. And what competitions does, it really breaks that perspective of university involvement and seeing the impact some universities have. And this is all students. We have, other universities have their LoRa, but the bulk of the work is done by students, and all the effort and time put into them does get paid off in the end. And it's something incredible to be a part of.
So I'm going to take you guys through a brief description of all of the enterprises that we have on both the accelerated side as well as the incubation side. So we're going to start off with EarthSuds. EarthSuds is a single portion shampoo, conditioner, and body wash tablet, which combats the issue of plastic waste generated through toiletry bottles. So the original idea was founded by a now graduate named Marissa, and she realized that over 8.2 billion plastic toiletry bottles end up in North American landfills every year, and that's just from hotels alone. And also, due to the small size of the bottles, they aren't able to be recycled. Additionally, in a typical shampoo bottle, less than a quarter of the liquid is the active ingredient and the rest is water, which is obviously extremely wasteful. So in addition to being a more sustainable product alternative for both a resource, it's also a more sustainably packaged product. And then in addition to providing a more sustainable product alternative, EarthSuds employs adults with developmental disabilities to help make the suds. You can also find EarthSuds on our e-commerce store. You can get starter packs, which have all 3 types of tablets, or you can buy each one individually. So the next business that's accelerated is called Last 20. Last 20 actually began as an apparel venture, which collected and properly recycled 20 plastic bottles for every item sold. The business has now pivoted and has been working with engineers to come up with a way to upcycle plastic bags into pavement. They've been working to gain municipal contracts and work to actually getting the solution into roads, hopefully later this year. The next accelerated business is called Mighty Hawks. Mighty Hawks runs one-on-one mentoring sessions for individuals with developmental disabilities to give them the resources and the confidence to overcome employment barriers that exist within their communities. Mighty Hawks has 1 volunteer for every participant in the program, and they guide them through a curriculum which includes financial literacy, communication skills, and general life skills to help them gain independence in all aspects of their lives. Many of our Mighty Hawks volunteers have also been employed with EarthSuds in the past to help make the suds. So it very seamlessly integrates many of our accelerated businesses. We also have
Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
We also have another business which used to be called Pollination, but they are currently undergoing a bit of a pivot, which hasn't been revealed to the public yet. So stay tuned for that next chapter for them. And then I'll just go over a few of the incubation businesses quickly. So the first one is Smile Tabs. It's a similar concept to EarthSuds, but they aim to reduce the amount of plastic waste from toothpaste tubes rather than toiletry bottles. The team actually came together in a new venture competition in first year, and they're working to create single portion toothpaste capsules, which have the same quality, texture, and taste of regular toothpaste. Another incubation team is called Cuppable, and they're aiming to reduce plastic waste from single-use coffee cups, since most aren't actually recyclable, by creating an edible and compostable alternative to that product. Then we have Food Fight, which they are aiming to reduce food waste from end-of-day produce at restaurants and grocers by providing an app that is downloadable on both Android and iPhone, which users can go into and order food at the end of the day that a restaurant would typically be throwing out. We also have 3 other incubation teams that just joined in January, and so you can stay tuned for those as well.
Thanks, Lauren. So finally, you've heard about all the different enterprises that we offer at Enactus Laurier. So something new that we launched this year was the rotational program. So our thoughts was that for this was to give students a well-rounded view of what Enactus Laurier is by providing 1 month on each of the 4 enterprises in different roles to get some amazing experience on each of these enterprises to really get ingrained with what they do. So this rotational program, as I said, we have some rotational specialists that cycle through different enterprises. And this is a great chance for the students to, if they see an enterprise that they really like, to connect with the enterprise manager to see if there's an opportunity or position that they can apply to, as well as for the enterprise managers to see if any of you would be well suited on their team. So as I stated, these rotations are 1 month in duration. And since it is a new pilot project that we launched this year, stay tuned for more information on potential opportunities to get further involved later this month. As you can see, and as I will mention on the next slide as well, for any of our positions, the best hub is our website, enactuslaurier.ca, as well as our socials at Enactus Laurier. So Overall, after what you've heard of in this presentation, there are 4 main ways you can get involved with an Actus Laurier. First, the rotational program, where you can get a unique experience on all of the different enterprises and really figure out what you want to do, and you can decide if you like one of those enterprises, or pitch an idea, which is another one of the ways to get involved if you want to create something of your own. All of our positions, we're always looking for more volunteers within Actus. As I said, go to the link that Carly just posted in the chat, as well as on our socials. We are promoting positions constantly. For example, we are currently promoting positions to help out with our competitions teams, to help out with our teams in general. So definitely check that location out if you are interested. And finally, to develop an idea through Problem Pitch and the Enactathon. And that is why you're here today, to really learn about what the problem pitch is about. And as Carly will mention in a few minutes, this is a segue. If you have a good idea and you've had some good research, you have the potential to bring that into the incubation stage. So there are multiple ways to come up with a new idea to get into the innovation process. And so based on an Actus Laurier in general, are there any questions from anyone before we get into the problem pitch?
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, for sure.
How long does it take from having an idea to actually implementing the idea for it, like in an Actus? Does that make sense?
Well, that depends on a lot of factors. It's going to come down to obviously the fundamentals of your business, whether your idea is fundamentally strong enough to take it to the next stage. We don't have a set time criteria that, at the 2-week mark, you have to be here, at the 4-week mark, you have to be here, at the 6-week mark, you have to be here, because that's not how real businesses work. Real businesses vary in their time length, and it just comes down to whether the business is ready to take that next step forward.
I understand, but I'm just saying generally, is it like a year or is it like multiple years?
It really varies. Something like EarthSuds of Marissa, the original co-founder, spent, I believe, 4 to 5 months on product development until she had a final product. Whereas something like Last 20, we've been working on this for 2 years with engineers in creating an aggregate that can be used in asphalt. So it really does vary from business to business.
I'll also add in one of the teams that just started from the Enactathon last year, which happened in, I guess that would have been around November. They just finalized their product that will be going to market just this past November. So it took them about a year to develop their full strategy, contact potential clients, and actually get to a place where their product was good enough to bring to market.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. I want to know, what is the benefit of this incubation program?
Yeah, for sure. So what Enactus is, we essentially provide you the support for potential volunteers and give you we support your business in giving you the knowledge into what next steps you have to take. We have an amazing team at Enactus headed by our faculty advisor, Laura Allen. And we're obviously just trying to see how these businesses can grow and making sure that you guys take the right steps. You guys are fundamentally strong at the core of the business.
We help provide the necessary resources within Enactus to help you grow as a business.
What's in return for the Enactus? Like from the company?
Return for us is we promote social causes. So all the businesses that we do accept to our incubator are focused on generally making a social impact, and that's what we want to see at Enactus. And if you guys get to a stage where you're making, a very significant impact, we then like to present these projects, as Boyne mentioned, at the national competitions.
I'll also just add in, not only are you contributing something that improves society, environment, honestly, anything of your choosing, it also gives you a really good network of people to connect with. Through the competitions, you'll get the opportunity to not only meet key figures in any of these industries, but you're also meeting people who are very like-minded. And on top, like it's almost like a cherry on top, getting connected with so many people who strive towards one goal, and that in turn enables you to collaborate and develop your ideas even further. So it is a nonprofit. It is something we work on solely to better the world, the planet, the society, and it's something that you're able to leave behind at Laurier. People think that after your 4 years are done here, it's like, you know, it's over and there's nothing left to remind the school of you. But with this, it definitely gives you the opportunity to leave something behind. A lot of these enterprises, you know, Mighty Hawks, Pollination, these are legacy enterprises that have been made, you know, 10 years ago and that are still operational now. So really the sky's the limit if you really apply yourself. And just to add on to the question that was asked earlier, you will receive what you put into it. So you can never be like too sure when that's going to develop. There'll be people go through like hundreds of changes before reaching their final business model idea. So it's definitely something to definitely put effort into. But you know, the impacts are endless.
Okay, thank you.
Yao Zin, you also have a question. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah. So I understand that like every idea, every business in Enactus has to be a social enterprise, has to do some social impact to the world. But what about if this business, the idea I have, becomes profitable? Like I have to promise to become non-profitable, right? To become like donate all my profit or.
So you don't necessarily have to donate any of your profits. Looking at the Earth's model, essentially the profits can't be taken for yourself. The profits at that point have to be reinvested into the business or into sociable causes. So you can't be profiting from the business as long as it's part of the Enactus incubator.
Can you explain that again?
Yeah, so you personally cannot be profiting as long as you're part of the Enactus incubator, but we do look to make our businesses profitable. We don't donate all the money because obviously that's not sustainable in the long run. Those profits are then reinvested into the business so it can grow further and can scale further.
So like the founder of the idea of the business, if they were to work with Enactus, they're not allowed to have any profit from the business.
Not as long as you're part of the Enactus incubator, but that's not to say. So once you graduate and you have founded an enterprise, you can more than take the enterprise with you. And at that point, it is under your discretion as to what you want to do with the profits. But so long you're as a part of the Enactus incubator, you can't be taking profits from the enterprise for your personal gain.
Is there like a contract with Enactus? So as long as I'm still a Laurier student and then the profit still running, the business is still running with Enactus and there's this promise?
Yes, we do have an MOU that teams sign once they join the incubator.
Okay, and what about like the share?
Unfortunately, you guys, we need to move on. We can talk more about that later.
And I just wanted to let you guys know that at the end of the problem pitch, you'll have all the emails of Xander Charg and myself in order to contact us if you have any questions about problem pitch or Enactus as an organization, so we can move on.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, so this is what you're all here for. So I'm not sure what's going on. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I'd like to first welcome you all to Enactus Laurier's problem pitch competition. I'm going to be going over what a problem pitch is, kind of the areas you can look at, and some additional guidelines and information that will hopefully answer many of the questions you have. So first, what is a problem pitch? So like any pitch, especially you might have done a solution pitch or something like that. It's like that, but instead of looking for the solution to a problem, we're looking at an analysis of a problem. Your research, you research the problem, you understand how it was created, what factors continue to contribute to furthering the problem or why that problem still exists, and what current solutions are being tried to solve the problem and what can be done better about those solutions. So maybe there's a gap in the solution that's not addressing a key factor in the problem, and you're going to see, well, in our next solutions, we should try this. You make us want to care about the problem and be very passionate about solving it. So we have 4 areas that we can kind of look at. So the first one being climate change. So as you've kind of already heard, climate change is a massive issue within society. So we're looking at why do some of these climate problems still exist, even though we are taking steps every day to limit our carbon emissions, to reduce our plastic pollution and such. So as we've seen throughout the pandemic, we have cut some of our carbon emissions due to limit of travel. What can we do now that we can analyze and figure out to do some post-COVID when we're back to normal life? Another area to look at is the economic impact of COVID. So as we've seen during the pandemic, there's been almost an economic crisis currently happening. And that's because many people are losing their jobs. People are at high risk of getting COVID if they're an essential worker, and others are privileged to work at home. So analyze what impact of the economic crisis has been, and post-COVID, or even as the pandemic continues, looking at ways and gaps in our current economic system that we should create solutions for to create a better, more sustainable future. Next, we have social systems. So we, during the pandemic, a lot of these issues have always been there before the pandemic. And even now during the pandemic, a lot of those issues are exacerbated. So issues with poverty, homelessness, food scarcity, domestic violence, all those things still happen during the pandemic. What can we look at in our current social systems that can be better? How can we create better social systems and create support for those who don't have the same opportunities that we do? So look at that problem and understand what is currently being done, what needs to be done, etc. And then the last area you can look at is health. So healthcare itself, and there's also public health. So again, throughout the pandemic, we've analyzed that certain paths taken in health have greatly reduced the amount of COVID cases. However, in some areas, that's not the same. So what are the problems in our current healthcare systems that exist, and what can we think about the solution for it? But we're not asking for a solution. We're asking for you to just be like, this is the problem. Many people don't know the proper things to do when you have a cold, etc., things like that. And in the end, you can be like education or something like that. So here's some of the guidelines for the problem competition. So we require teams up to 5. So they must be either Laurier or UW double degree students. Laura, hop in if you need to. Students from other disciplines such as science and arts are recommended. This is because not only in business are you looking at societal issues, but arts and science also look at those issues, and they may see something that we don't. So that's why it's important to have interdisciplinary, so we can get a better grasp of the problem that we're analyzing. So your video pitch can be up to 5 minutes in length. We are not looking for you guys to be the next head directors of Hollywood. Even if it's just a simple video, that's what we're requiring. We're really looking at the in-depth analysis you take of the problem rather than your video editing skills. If you have those great, as long as it doesn't impact your research. The video should outline the research you have done, answer some of the questions listed in the information package, which you will be receiving soon. And again, kind of goes over what I've already discussed, what current solutions, what created the problem, things like that. Next, you must include an annotated bibliography where you cite your references and you briefly describe how you use them and what you learned. So that's kind of, you would give your citation and I use this for this reason, and this is what I kind of for it. It doesn't have to be long. You can do up to 50 words for that, I would say. So submissions are January 29th, and the last day to register is January 26th. So both the timelines are clearly stated in the PowerPoint. And we just want to acknowledge that, again, in Ontario, we are in a state of emergency. We highly recommend that you stay at home and continue to social distance, because we would love to see your faces on campus, of course. So teams should be working remotely during the pitch, as you perhaps live together, things like of that, or you're in the same household. So it's okay, even if it's just you taking videos at your separate homes and putting them all together, that's okay. We just don't want to risk any unnecessary travel, because even though, yes, it's a bonus mark, it doesn't fall under the provincial guidelines for essential travel. But stay safe. And then here are some ways to contact us if you have any questions or anything. So our Instagrams and Actus Laurier, LinkedIn, Facebook, and then I've also added various Chirag's and my email. So email Xander and Chirag about any Enactus organization related questions, and then any questions related to problem pitch to me. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a look at the chat and we can see from there. Yeah, okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to share.
I think what some in the chat I see, is there a minimum team size?
No minimum.
Okay.
So you could technically work on it alone if you want, but if there's several individuals that reach out to me looking for a team, we can put you together as a team. But I highly recommend that you guys kind of form your teams. That way it's just a little bit easier. Also, yes, what's being recorded is being posted to our website, so don't worry about that. The information package will be coming soon, and not everyone on your team has to fill out the registration form, which is also linked on our social. And Xander and Chirag, if you can add the registration link to the chat. So, yep. And then, yeah, so you guys don't have to fill out, it's just one per team. So one person can submit it and just list all your group members. I'm not sure. To answer your bonus mark questions, I'm not sure. Just because
Laura's going to be back soon, and she can answer any questions regarding the bonus marks.
Mm-hmm. So if anyone has any problems in regards to the problem pitch, ask any questions about that, feel free to speak.
And for this presentation as well, it is important to distinguish, it is different than the requirements for your new venture project you're working on. The people in your team do not have to be in your lab. They can even be outside of the course. You can form teams with anyone you want for this presentation.
Yeah, so they don't need to be in the same discipline. They can be in completely different disciplines as long as they're Laurier
for the
students.
pitch.
Yeah. So for example, I did a similar competition last year, and then two of my friends are in BBA and I'm in communications, and that allowed us to get a new take on an issue. So that's kind of why it's helpful. I'm just looking. I highly recommend that you do very in-depth research, because the more research you do, the more things kind of get exposed. So even like just like talking to people, trying to interview, cold emailing people who are currently doing and seeing what's going on. So yes, you would have to submit the video.
Yeah, and a few answers for the bonus mark questions. I saw the one question, will I lose mark if I do bad? No, you will not. If you just submit it by that date and participate in the competition, you will get the bonus mark.
Emma K, that's a great question. I'll wait for Laura to come back to answer that, just because I don't know what's going on in BU121 and I don't want to give you any wrong information. Yes, so in the competition aspect, there is a final round of 10 teams that will be picked, and they will do a live Q&A on the 30th. So make sure you're available on the 30th to do the live Q&A. So we'll be asking questions about your research and the problem you proposed. Again, I'm not sure, just because I'm not Laura and she's a more qualified person to speak about bonus marks.
Bonus mark. Laura said she would be joining soon and she'll be able to answer any questions surrounding the bonus marks. I see two people have their hands raised. Do you guys want to ask away your question?
Oh yeah, I had a question. Could we like work with people from the Brantford campus as well? Or does it have to be from the Waterloo campus?
I'm not, that's a great question.
We will.
I'm probably gonna go with,
we'll get back to you on that. If you can email us that question,
Yeah.
just because we are part of the SU, so they do have some guidelines that we're required to follow. So if you just email us that question and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so most, like, it seemed like most of the issues relating to like some of the problems had more to do with like politics or culture than business. So for our solutions, can they be about like politics and culture, or do we have to bring it back to business?
So the thing about problem pitch is usually it is social issues that you are examining. You wouldn't examine it the same way you would kind of look at a case. It's a little bit different because a lot of these have social impacts. So let's say poverty, there's a lot of implications about social issues and in regards to that. So your solutions we're not looking for a business idea or like a specifically organization. We're looking for like a very general solution of, we need to fix government policy or systematic racism, things like that. They're very general. That's, from my understanding, doing the previous problem competition.
Yeah, so again, this is a in-depth analysis of the problem, not so much proposing a solution, because to the issues that you will be focusing on, there isn't, one simple solution. Otherwise, it would have been enacted by now. These are, very large problems with multiple issues coming from different angles. And that's what we're kind of asking you to do, is understand why this problem exists.
And once you really understand the problem in this, that can lead you potentially into another competition we're holding later this year where you have to find a solution. But don't think about that right now. All you think about right now is the problem.
Mm-hmm. Also, I saw some really great like questions in the chat. Of course, you can look at other countries, other cultures. Even though, like in Canada, we do live in a place of privilege of not facing sometimes the same issues. Learning about other issues in other places is always great because we can see what we can do. Yeah, and we do ask that you kind of do them in the 4 main areas that we've discussed. But however, these are many, there's many pathways you can take within those 4 areas.
Every group member is not required to present. I see 2 other people have their hands raised. Do you guys have questions?
Yeah, I actually had a question. Someone was talking about a live Q&A in the chat. What is that about?
Yeah, so Oh, for
Go
the
ahead,
final
Kylie.
round, we'll be doing a Q&A session. So you guys would be on like a Zoom call and we would ask you guys questions and you would then answer those questions. So if we found something that we were curious about your research, we would bring that up, and that's kind of what would go on.
We answer that about our analysis of the problem.
Yeah, so let's say
that-
you did an analysis and we were like a little bit, we were just kind of curious about an aspect of the analysis that you took. We could ask a question about that.
And that's like the finals of this competition, right?
Yes.
At that point, it will be top 10 for those who get to the Q&A round.
Okay, thank you. Oh, also,
And Carl,
sorry,
no,
I
go
just
ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to ask, are we gonna get this information in any other form, like, or is it just this video?
No, we will be giving out a booklet that goes through all the guidelines for the competition, as well as specifics that are required in the video submission, as well as an annotated bibliography. So that'll be released by tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, this video will be able to view after we get it uploaded from the cloud, the Zoom cloud. So you guys will have access in case you missed it or your Wi-Fi went out.
The booklet package will be found both on our Instagram socials as well as our website.
I see Laura is back now too. I just saw recently, Laura, there was a question about bonus marks.
What's the question?
The question, how many bonus marks do you earn for making it to Q&A?
We are finalizing the way the bonus marks will work. So that's something that Leanne and I will go over in lectures the beginning of next week. That's all I can tell you at this point.
At this point, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to stay on and we're here to answer them. If you don't have any questions, we're really glad you can make it out. And we hope you register for this competition, and we look forward to seeing your submissions.
For sure. And we will share all this information with you shortly.